Welcome back, guys. Hope you're all doing great. And today in this video I'm going to teach you how to use Firebase authentication with your Next.js project. So here we have this nice screen. If you click this, it will opens the Google authentication pop-up and you can navigate to your browser. You click that, it will navigate to your index.js. Okay, so if I click this, it will be signed out successfully. So even if the user is trying to access that index pages by typing the URL manually, it will not allow the user to go to that particular navigation. So if you notice here, if you're it has a little bit flickering over there, it's because of the we are rendering everything in the client side, so that's why we have that flickering information. It's loading that index.js and it's rerouting the user to the login. That's why we're having that slight delay over there. So if you're using Next authentication, we don't have this problem. So in this video we are not going to discuss about the Next authentication, we are going to discuss only about the Firebase authentication. Okay, so I hope you guys are excited. So without wasting your time, now let's get started. Okay, then, so now what we need to do is we need to create a Next.js application. So right click and refresh it. Okay, then, so now what we need to do, we need to create a Next.js application. So let's open up our browser and search for Next.js. And you can find their official website. That's the first one. So click it, it will be opened and you can see their official documentation over here. So click that documentation and you can see how to create the Next application and lots of information over here. So I strongly recommend you to go through this documentation if you are learning any new technology at first. So let me copy this command and open up your terminal window or command prompt. So navigate to your desired location. So for the time being, I'm just going to create in the desktop itself. So let me create a new directory over there for, let's say, Firebase Auth. Okay, so now let me navigate to that Firebase authentication folder. Okay, so inside here I'm going to create the Next application. So right click and paste it, and here you can the command which I copied it from here, I pasted over there. Then you need to give a folder to create an application. So for the time being, I'm not going to create a new project folder inside this folder. I'm going to extract all the files inside this folder itself. So /. So that will extract all the information inside that folder itself. So let's install it. So this will take a few minutes or a few seconds to install all these necessary applications for your Next.js. So in the time being, what we can do is let's move to Firebase. So search for firebase.google.com. And here, this is their official website, like firebase.google.com. And you can click this go to console menu, click that go to console menu. And that will takes you to the your project section. These are all the few projects which I already created with my Firebase account. So click here to create a new project and name this as you wish. For the time being, I'm just going to name it as Firebase Auth -YouTube. So click continue. And if you wish to enable all the Google Analytics for this particular project, you can enable it. So this, I'm not going to create a full stack complete project. So let me disable it and create the project. So this will create your Firebase project in a second. So this will be done when then still our Next.js project is it's downloading. So let's wait. Okay, so now it's done. So let's create this continue. So that will takes you to our Firebase main that particular project dashboard over here. So here you can see the authentication database and all those things. This video is not about the complete Firebase tutorial. I'm just going to show you how to use the Firebase authentication providers like Google provider. We are going to use only the Google provider. So if you click this authentication, so that will takes you to authentication menu. So click get started. From there, it will display all the providers which it supports. So you can use email and password, Google, Facebook, Play Games, Game Center. I'm not sure who's using the Game Center and all those things. Apple, GitHub, Twitter, Yahoo, all these things. And even you can use the phone authentication also. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Google authentication. Okay, so click this Google authentication and enable it. If you enable it, this is your project ID, and that don't touch it anything, just leave it as it is. Or if you wish to change any public name for this particular project, you are free to change all those things. So select your email ID over here. So this will generate your web client and web client secret automatically, so you don't need to worry about it. So click save. So in a few seconds, that will enable your project with the web client of your Gmail account. So now if you go here, edit it, and if you go to this web SDK configuration, so this is your client ID and this is your secret. So we successfully created our web client now. So let me close it now, and these are all the authorized domains to access these authentication. So make sure that you have your local host over here. Cool. And even if you wish to add localhost with specific port, you can add that along over here. Okay, so now what we need to do is, let's go to our authentication. Good, our Next.js project is successfully created. So let me open it in my Visual Studio Code. It's taking a while. Yep, it's opened. So now this is our Next.js project. It has this pages and all those things. This is the main page which is loading. That's the index.js file, and here we are having all the some default codes over here. So let's fire it up and let's see how it's up and running. Come on, why today is too much slow? My PC is a little bit slow, guys. I don't know why. Clear the screen and npm run dev. So to run the development server, I cleared that screen. So to run the development server, you need to run this particular command. So this will run our deployment server. Fire it up. Come on. Yep, it's running. Yep, so it's running in the localhost 3000. So let me go to my browser, web browser again, and let me search for localhost 3000. So that will open my Next.js application over here. Cool. This is what so far in our application, right? This is the main screen what we're having in our. So anyways, we are not going to use any of this. We are going to use our own customizations and all those things. We are going to make few changes in that. So first I'm going to integrate the Tailwind CSS with my Next.js project. So search for Tailwind or Tailwind CSS with Next.js. So that will open up this. You can find this, the Tailwind CSS provide a nice documentation to configure the Tailwind CSS with your Next.js application. Okay, so here I'm going to copy this command one by one. So we already created this project, so we don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to copy this command from here. Let me copy it and go to the terminal and paste it here. Make sure that you are inside your project folder. I'm already inside my project folder only. So let me install it. So that will be installed. So come on. Well, it's taking more than a while. So then what we need to do is, once it's done, we need to do this particular setup, Tailwind CSS initialize. So this will create a Tailwind config.js and post.config.js, where you can configure your complete Tailwind utility classes, all those things. So let me run that command also, npx tailwind css init-p. So that will create the tailwind.config.cs. So these two files are successfully created now. So if you go ahead your Visual Studio Code, and you can see those two different files. So we need to, in case if you want to configure, if you make any custom color or background colors or anything, if you want to do any customization, this file is it's necessary to do all those things. Okay, so then what I need to do is I need to copy this and I need to update that tailwind config.js. So that will make sure all the JSX and TSX files inside this to make sure they are using their configuration from the Tailwind. So save the changes. Then we need to add this in the global.cs file. So copy it and go to your styles.global.css and right after here or above wherever you need, paste it. Okay, so I'll paste it over here because I'm having these few codes. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to keep it as everything as it is. Then I'll copy and paste it over here. Save the changes, and right over here we don't need this home.module.css, so let us delete it. Okay, so stop the server first, stop it, and then now we delete this, delete it, and then if you go to your index.js, that module is imported, so delete it. And here I don't need any of these things, so let me delete that one also. So literally let me delete everything. Okay, so this is a plain project now, so we are going to create everything by ourselves. So what you need to do is from here, first you need to create the application. So use this RAFCE. So that will create this plain application that React. What does it mean is it's like it will create the React functional component, arrow 6 function component. So what is that RAFC means is nothing but if you go ahead to your extensions and search for ES7 React Redux snippets. So these are snippets which helps you to create a React code much faster. So install this extension and that extension will provide you that RAFC, RAC, lots of extensions along with that. So we successfully created a React functional component over here. Now what we need to do is let me save the changes, and here I'm going to use some Tailwind class CSS. So class name is equals to width, it should be always the screen size, complete screen size. Height is also going to be the screen. So you need to install one more plugin along with that. That's nothing but your Tailwind. You search for Tailwind CSS IntelliSense, install this, then only you can see all the necessary Tailwind utility classes over there. Okay, so when I'm typing something, it shows me the suggestions, like for instance BG slate 100 or something. See, it's showing the suggestions. It's only because of that particular utility classes, also that's because of that extension. Okay, so now let's fire up our server again. Let me go to the browser, and where is our, here it is. So let me refresh it. It's loading. What is it showing? No errors so far. Here we go. Okay, so I hope so. Our Tailwind CSS is not working. It's working. It's working because of this color instead of this slate. Let me give red or anything. Now refresh it. Look at that. So the color, everything is changed. So successfully we integrated the Tailwind CSS. For the time being, I'm just going to keep it slide, and everything it's inside this, it's need to come inside the center. So flex justify center, items center. So for the time being, we'll leave it as it is as an index. So what I'm going to do is index page, I'm not going to touch it anymore, because once the login is successfully done, user needs to navigate it to the redirected to the index.js, right? So we are going to create a new folder inside the root folder called components. Inside this components, I'm going to create a new file called login.jsx and RAFCE. Let me leave it as it is, login.ce. So if you're using a React project, you need to install the React Router DOM, which really helps you to navigate from one page to another internally. But here NextJS provides you by default, it has the NextJS has the router inside the NextJS itself. So I can, if I wish to go to any component, just like I can give, for instance, just write that login, that component name itself, that will takes you to that particular component. Why? It's because I think here I created the capital L, I think so. So let me rename it here. Let me keep it in the small case itself. Okay, so here also small case, and here also small case. Save the changes. Now if you refresh it, still we are not getting it. Why? Why it's not working? My bad, that should be inside the pages folder. My mistake, sorry guys. Actually I made a mistake. This is for our components folder, so anything if you wish to create, I'll delete it from here. Sorry for this confusion. So what I need to do is, components folder is for all the external components what we are going to do inside this particular application. So if you want to create, if you want to work along with the router and all those things, that should be inside the pages. So let me create a new file inside the pages, and I rename it as login.jsx, and then here RAFCE, and I'll rename this JS also as JSX itself. Okay, save the changes. Now if I go to my browser, look at that, we have that login term over here. So that's my bad, I made a mistake, sorry for that. So this components is for all the supportive functionalities for our this particular page. Okay, and if you want to navigate from one page to another, all that particular files, everything should be inside the pages component, sorry, inside the pages folder. Okay, so now let's customize the login screen for our application. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to delete this inside this, and I'm going to add few class name over here. And what's the class name? It's going to be window, that means the width, it's going to be screen, height, it's going to be the screen, and flex, flex, justify the content center, and align items center, come on, items center, and BG white relative. Okay, so inside here, now if you see, you can, that it's nothing different over here, but if I type some content, that will be in the center of the screen. Good. Now what we need to do, we need to load an image. So you can load whatever the image you want. I'm going to use the image which I already copied it in my local notepad. So let me paste it here. So this is nothing but it's an image from the Pixabay. So you can go to the Pixabay website and you can choose any image you want. So I'm going to use this particular image. Okay, so go to the Pixabay website and search whatever the image you wish to have. And for this, I'm going to add few class. So class name. So this image is going to be absolute position, absolute, and it should be always in the top left corner, top left. And width, it should always be full screen. So width screen, height full screen, and object cover. Okay, now this will be in a full screen, but this image is too bright. Whatever the picture, I'm going to keep it top of it, or the content of the top of it, I can't see it clearly. So what I need to do, I need to reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to create one more layer above it, so that it's going to be as an overlay. So that's absolute, top 0, left 0, right 0, bottom 0. That means it will covers the entire screen. Okay, you can write like this also. Then for this, what I need to do is, I need to add the black color, BG black, and BG opacity, I think 50% it's enough. Now look at that. So it will reduce that picture brightness a little bit. That means it's not reducing the picture brightness. We are creating one more layer top of this particular image. Cool. Now what we need to do is, after this, I'm going to create a division. Inside the division, I'm going to create a button for navigating to the create a login, authentication, and all those things. So for that, I need an icons. So I'm going to use the React icons, search for React icons, click it and download this npm, download it, come on, click it, paste it. So npm install React. Actually this hyphen save, it's not necessary. Anyway, it will do the work so that it's successfully installed. So what I need to do, I need an icon that I'm going to import it. Import from React icons. What is that icon? Is going to be fc google or /fc package. There are lots of package in it. If you go through this here, see, it's having lots of package in it. I'm going to use the flat color icons, that's the fc. Here I'm going to use the Google. If you search for Google, this one, we are going to use this. So fc google. Okay, that's the package we are going to, icon we are going to use for our button now. So here, now what I need to do, I need to create a division, and inside that division, I'm going to keep two different information. First, I'm going to keep that Google icon, self-closing tag, and the font size of it it's going to be 30. And right after this, I'm going to keep on paragraph tag, and I'm going to say sign in with Google. And let's customize these class name for it. Class name, it's going to be text lg. It's going to be a large text, and font semi bold, and from the margin it should take 4. Okay, so margin left, it's because we are going to, currently I can't see it because that division, it's behind this overlay and all those things. So what we need to do is we need to bring it to the top of the everything. So z index 10. So that will brings that content top of it. So now our content and the icon, everything is loaded perfectly. So let's make some customization for it. So first what I need to do is I'm going to make it flex, justify content, let's say center, items center, and border color, we can say like gray 300. Then border radius, no border radius, we can say rounded LG. Let's see, look at that. So it's successfully done over there. Then what we need to do is I need to add some background color and all those things. So let me close this and let me close this, make it a little bit bigger so that you can see it clearly. Then here, now what we need to do, I need to add that remaining classes and all those things. Okay, so let me add some padding for it, padding. Then what we need to do is I'm going to say bg white and bg opacity 60%. So now we can see that it's having this. Then I'll make cursor pointer. Okay, and on hover I need to add some shadow, so shadow empty, and on hover I'm going to make bg opacity 100. Look at that. So now we're having this hover effect, it's successfully done. So let's add some transitions, duration 150, ease in, ease out. So that will have this nice transition effects for that hover effect. Cool. I think I need to reduce the, where is that, rounded, instead of rounded LG, I'll make it rounded full. Cool, this is better, right? This is much better. Okay, so now what we need to do is when I click this, we need to do that integration, right? We need to do that integration. So let's go ahead to your Firebase authentication and click this Firebase console and click this go to docs and search for in the Firebase fundamentals, you can see add Firebase web, how to add your Firebase project and all those things. So we need to integrate our Firebase to our application, right? First we need to integrate our Firebase to our application. To do that, what you need to do is you need to go back to your Firebase project which we created, and click here to Firebase project settings. And once you go to that project settings, you can see what you're going to use. We are going to use the web authentication. So click web and create a web app for using your project. So Firebase Auth, you can use any name. So choose any name wisely and click register app. Hosting, we worry about this hosting later. Okay, so we need to install this. So copy this and then install that package, npm install Firebase. So let it install, and this is our all the necessary information for our project. Okay, so let's go back to the console and let's go to the project settings. And if you scroll down, you can see all your API key, domain, bucket, storage bucket, and all those things. So if you want to use all these Firebase database, real-time database, first you need to enable everything, then create the web app. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm just showing you how to create an app. If you're creating a real-time project, make sure that you enable everything. Otherwise, later you need to update this once again. That's also possible. Okay, so now it's still installing. I don't know why it's taking. My network is a little bit slow today. It's taking more than a while. Come on. Well, let me stop it and I rerun it again. npm install Firebase. Yeah, now it's downloading. That's better. So let it download. And now what we need to do, we do some basic setups. So let's go over to your project and collapse everything. So here in the root folder, create a new file called firebase-config.js. So I used to create a Firebase config like this. So you can, whatever the naming convention you wish to use, you can use that. So let me open it. And inside this, we need to copy all the necessary informations from your project folder, and you need to paste it inside here. Okay, so first what you need to do is we need to import all the necessary things. So let's do one by one. So let it install. It's showing error, timeout. Why? Come on, install it. Come on, come on. Okay then, so it took me a while to install all these things because of my network problem. So I just restarted my router and all those things. So now here we go. So it's successfully installed. Now first what I need to do is, let's go to our browser back over here, copy this line. We need this line, copy this, paste here. Then we need to bring our configuration, or better you can copy and paste it everything here. So I don't need this imports. Let me delete all those imports and I'll keep it everything clear. Cool. So now this will initialize our applications and all those things. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this as a Firebase app and I'm going to export it as a default. So this will be exported. So later, wherever I need to configure all this, need all these things, I can use in my project. But we are not supposed to keep all these sensitive informations openly in your code, because in case if you're uploading all this code to the GitHub, this will make a problem. So what you need to do is, we need to make it securely by using environment variables. So creating next in environment variable in NextJs, you need to search for NextJs environment variables. If you search for that, you can find it in their official documentation itself. So go through all these steps, what they are asking you to do. So go through it. For the time being, I'm just going to create a new environment variable in the local folder. So .env.local. Okay, so create it. And then here, make sure that you start for the React environment variable. We used to start with React app. For here, we need to start with next_public. It's mentioned over here, next_public. You need to use that public, next_public _ you can say that, what is this, Firebase _API _key. Okay, so you can copy and replace it. So here you need to give that particular informations, that key information. Where is it? Firebase. Copy this, create, and give it over here. Give it over here. We don't need the double quotes. Even if you're giving it, it's not a problem. Then you need to do all these things one by one. So what I'm going to do, let me copy everything. So take your time and create all these necessary informations, and then we need to update everything over here. So instead of using this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change it process.env. I'm going to use this variables, whatever I created over there. So let me copy it, and then I'll replace everything. Okay, so instead of these keys, I'll change one by one. Auth domain, project ID, storage bucket, and message center ID and app ID. So by this way, we can keep all our secured necessary information, everything in a secured way. So this will maintain all the Firebase information in our local environment. So whenever you're uploading to your GitHub or anywhere, you need to make sure that you added this env.local file in your GitHub. So this file will be ignored. So your key, everything will be stay in your local. It will not be in your cloud. Okay, so now our Firebase configurations, so file, everything is integrated, done. So let's go back to our login.jsx. So what we need to do is, so here I need to import few different packages for do all the authentication and all those things. So first what I need to do is, only when I'm clicking this division on click, I need to call sign in method. Exactly, we don't have this method. So first we need to create this method. So here const sign in is equals arrow6 function. It's not going to do anything for now. So let's import all the necessary things. So let me go to the Firebase documentation. So open the Firebase documentation side by side, because we are going to use all these Firebase authentication only. So we're done with these steps, all these steps and everything. Right, so from here you can see you can import the Firestore and all those things if you wish to save all the informations and everything. But we are not going to work with the Firestore and all those things. We are going to work with the authentication for the web. So you can click the authentication for the web, and here they will show you what are the informations and what are the steps and all those things you need to do. So first you need to import, this is for creating user email and password, but we are not going to use the email and password. I'm going to show you how to sign in with Google. So search for Google sign in. Okay, you can find the Google sign in, and if you scroll down here, you need to import this particular package. Okay, and you need to get the authentication from your Firebase app, and you need to use this provider for creating the auth that to make a successful sign in by using the Google. Okay, so this is the function we are going to use it. Okay, so first what we need to do, we need to create this, first we need to get the authentication, then we need to use this sign in with pop-up, all those things. So let's get started. So first what I need to do, let's go to your application and here import unnecessary packages. So first import from Firebase. Okay, we need to import from Firebase Auth. Okay, then we need to import our Firebase app, which is coming from our Firebase config.js, this one, Firebase config.js. Okay, so now we have our app, and from the Firebase Auth we need to get two packages, two classes. So get Auth, this one, and sign in with pop-up, this one. So get Auth will helps you to returns the Auth instance associated with your project, and sign in with pop-up, it helps you to open a pop-up window to authenticate yourself to the Google. Okay, then we need to use the Google Auth provider. So we are using the Google Auth provider. So these are the necessary packages we need to have in our login screen. Now it's successfully done. Then what we need to do, we need to open up the sign in. Okay, so here we need to get few information. First we need to get what authentication we are going to use. So const Firebase Auth, it's a local variable I'm creating so that I can easily understand. So get Auth, I need to pass my application information, so Firebase app. Then const provider is equals, what is the provider we are going to use? Google Auth provider. Cool. So now we have the authentication provider. So we need to pass with that to authentication and provider with to our sign in with pop-up method. Okay, so then let's go back here, and here what I need to do is I need to make sure this function as asynchronous function. This function should wait until my method is completely done. So asynchronous function, and right after here, inside here, I'm going to create write a method await sign in with pop-up, and I'm going to pass the Firebase Auth variable which I created. Then I'm going to provide the provider, which provider I'm going to use. Okay, so this will return a promise, and I will get that response over here, response. And for the time being, I'm just console.log that response. What is the response we are getting it? So let's open up our browser, go to our project. It's showing error, invalid API key. So we need to start and restart our server, because once you created the environment variable, you need to restart your server. Then only that environment variable will get loaded. So here you can see that our local env file is successfully loaded. So now it can access that API keys and all those things. Now if you go back there, where is that? Here, if I close it, if I refresh it, now we can see that error is gone. Let me go back to the console, open the console side by side. So now if I click this sign in, and auth domain configure is required. Auth domain config, we have the domain config. Why it's showing that error? Auth domain, we're having it here. env file, Firebase auth domain. Wait a second, that is our project settings. Yeah, it's correct only, so no mistake in that. Then why it's not opening? Why we are getting this error? Where is it? Firebase config. So let me, come on, we don't need this, we keep it this one side by side and we'll bring this one. Okay, so let me try in a different way. Wait guys, I need to figure it out. What is the mistake first? So even though we added everything perfectly, why it's not taking? So like instead of this, we'll load, let me comment it, and we use this config for the time being. Let's save the changes, refresh it. We're having that Firebase app. Come on. Restart it. It's loaded. Yes, it's loaded. Yep, it's working. Whew. I thought some mistakes in our code. So far nothing is. So if you click that, it's opening. The problem with is our local environment local variable, guys. This environment local variable only, it's making problem. Well, it took me a while to figure out what's the mistake I made. It's because of this equal. Instead of equal sign, I forgot to change that equal sign to that colon into equal. I missed that. That's why it's constantly showing that error. So let me restart the server and now let's verify it. So it's restarted. Let's go back here. So now there is no error in our console. Cool. If I click this, look at that. That single colon make me this much of trouble. So if I click this, that will sign in with my Gmail and it's returning that complete response. So we need to extract only this user response, because inside this user only you're having all the display name and the meta information, everything we needed. So we need to fetch that. So we don't need this. Close it, close it, close it. So let's go back to our instead of console.response, and I'm going to fetch only that user object. See, we need only this user object. So I'm just going to destructure it. Okay, once I fetch that user object, now what I need to do is I need to inside that user object, it will Google itself provides you the access token, this refresh token. Where is that? Inside the token manager, you can see this access token and you can see this refresh token itself. So we are going to use this refresh token, this refresh token for our user sign-in. Okay, this is valid for certain time limit. See, you can see that the expiration time is in a string. So until that particular time only this token is accessible. Again, they need to re-sign in again. Okay, we need to use this access token for our particular process. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to destructure that and I'm going to fetch that refresh token. So const we need two information. What is that? We need this refresh token and also we need this provided data. We need these two information from this user instance which we having. So now we have these two information. So if I console log these two information like refresh token and the provider data. Now let's go here, reload it. If you click sign in, it will opens up and choose the account. Look at that. We have the access token along with the one array object. That's our provider information, display name, email, photo, URL, and all those things. Okay, so we need only this particular information. Cool. Let's delete this. We don't need it. Then what I need to do is I need to push all these informations to the local storage. That means your browser local storage, so that I can access it anywhere whenever I needed this user information and all those things. So let's create local storage dot set item Okay, so I need to set this item as user itself. This is for user information. So JSON dot stringify, we are converting to a string object, and I'm just sending the provider data alone. This is an array. I'm passing that array and I'm saving that array in the browser local storage. Later, whenever I needed it, I can access it as user itself. Then we need to push one more information. That's the access token, and that is our refresh token. So we can access this token in the index.js if when you're loading up, if the user doesn't have this that access token, we can redirect the user to the login page itself. If the browser history already having this access token, no need of navigating to the login. Okay, so that's what, for this particular purpose only we are doing this. So then once it's successfully done, we need to push, once the user successfully signed in, we need to push the users to the index.js. So to do that, NextJs alone has its own router. I told you it's having inbuilt router already, so we are going to use that inbuilt router hook for our purpose. So let's import that first. Import use router hook from the next router. We are going to use it, and right after here I'm going to create const router is equals use router, not this one, use router, this one. Okay, so we are going to use this router. So once it's successfully pushed all the details, everything to the local browser storage, I'm going to push the user router.push to our home directory, to our home. That means our index.jsx file. Cool. Then now let's verify, make sure that everything is working fine. Let's go here and open your application, because inside the application you can see the local cache memory. You can see that already it's pushed all the information. So let me clear it. Okay, currently there is no browser local storage. Currently everything is empty. So now if I click this, it will open the sign in pop-up. If I click this one, that will be successfully rerouted to the index.js, and you can see that we have our user information over here and we have our access token over here. So using this access token and the user informations, I can do some customizations all I need. Okay, so now let's go back to our index.js. So inside the index.js, what we need to do is we need to fetch the user information from the browser storage. Okay, so later inside this project, I need to fetch the user in a different component and different places. So I'm going to keep all these informations in a utils folder. So utils folder is nothing but is a support functions, all the support functions for your project. So create a utils folder. We used to keep all the support functions, everything inside this utils folder. So inside here, I'm going to create one more file called fetch details, or most perfectly fetch user details .js. Inside here, I'm going to create two different functions. One is to fetch the user access token, and another one is to fetch the user information. So first, let's create a user access token. So export const, we need to create user access token. Use a proper naming convention. That will really helps you to whenever you're creating a fully functional project. So an arrow6 function. Inside here, from the local storage, we are going to fetch the information. So const access token. Okay, const access token is equals, I'm going to get the access token from the local browser storage. So local storage dot get item. We are going to get a very specific item from the local storage. What is that? This access token. Copy it and then paste it here. Access token. Sometimes this access token, initially if the user trying to log in, this will not be there. If this access token is there, we need to get that. Otherwise, we need to clear the local storage. Then we need to create then that will allows the user to create a new local storage memory. So what I'm going to do is, so to avoid the undefined error, so only if the local storage get item access token it's not undefined. If it is not undefined, then what you want to do, then I'm just going to JSON convert it to JSON dot parse local storage dot get item, and then we are going to pass that information over here, that access token. Only if it is not equals to undefined, fetch that access token. If it is undefined, what we need to do, if it is undefined colon, if it is undefined, clear the local storage. Clear. That means we are trying to fetch the access token. If it is equals to undefined, if it is not equals to undefined, get that particular access token and pass it as a JSON data. Otherwise, we will simply clear the local storage. Now what we need to do is we need to return this access token. Return access token to our main screen where we need our index.js. So first we'll do this, then we'll fetch the user information and all those things. Okay, so let's go to the index.js. So inside the index.js, now what we need to do is we need to access few information. First we need to fetch this user access token from our utils fetch user details which we created. It will fetch the user access token, and we need to import use router this also. So this will allows the user to route to a different page. Okay, so then I need to import that we can import it later. So inside here I'm going to create const router is equals use router. So we are creating the router instance. Then what I need to do is I'm going to check this. So I'm going to use the use event. This needs to be, it's take two different parameters. One is function and another one is dependency. So if you are using this empty dependency, that means this use effect will be rendered only one time, not every single time. So we need to check only once when the browser, by the time when the website is loaded. Okay, so we are going to check that. What I'm going to check that, first I need to fetch the const access token. So access token equals user access token. So this function will return that user access token, and we will have that value over here. Okay, so if I don't have the access token, if not access token, return router dot push the user to login.jsx. Let's save it and let's go to the browser, reload it. Currently it's having this information, so let me clear the browser. Currently it doesn't have anything. Now if I refresh it, that will redirect the user to the signin.login. Even if I'm trying to access that, see, it will not take the user to go there. Okay, so if you notice that you can see that there is a flickering inside it. So it's loading that component and it's redirecting to that. So this is because it will usually it's commonly happen when you're using the React application. It's because the we are rendering everything in this client side. So in NextJS, if you're using the Next authentication on all those things, you can render all the informations in the server side itself, so that flickering will not happen. But in this case we are using only Firebase authentication alone. So to achieve that, you need to work with the Next authentication. So for this video I'm just going to teach you how to use the Firebase authentication. So it's successfully now redirected over here. Let's click this and we will get our access tokens and all those things. So now I'm having the access token. Even if I'm refreshing it, see, still I'm in the same page itself. It doesn't redirect me. So now what I need to do, I need to fetch the user informations and all those things. So let's go back here. Let's design something. Then we will fetch the user informations and everything. So inside here, I'm going to create a division. Okay, create a division.
and this division is going to have quite a very big classes. So class name, first we are going to use the width is going to be how much width it is, 33% of the screen size. Then and height, I'm going to use it as auto. I'm not going to fix the height. And padding 4, and BG white, and shadow effect is going to be MD medium. Then rounded also medium. Then justify everything in the start, and items center, and position is going to be relative position. Then inside this division we are going to have a logout button. That button is going to come from your icon. I think I didn't import it. Yeah, I didn't import it. So import from React icon /io5. From this package I'm going to use this particular package, logout, io logout. So copy it and paste it here, and this is always going to use the font size as 25, and this should be in a top right corner. So I'm going to make it position absolute. So class, oops, not this, class name, it should be here. Class name is equals absolute, and top 3, right 3, cursor pointer, text gray 600. Save the changes. Now if you have a look at it, we have this button over here. Well, inside this we need to fill the details and all those things. So let's go ahead and fill the details and everything. So first I need to load the image. So actually image will be loaded from the user details. So we need to fetch the user informations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all this function, okay, and I need to make some few changes inside it. So I'm going to change this function name as fetch user. Okay, instead of access token we are going to say we can say user info. Copy it, paste it and paste it here, and instead of this access token we need to change this where we can fetch this user information. Copy it and go there. So select this and press Ctrl D. It will select all the terms exactly as it is. So and then paste it. That will paste in at the same time in 2 different places. Okay, so now we will fetch the information from the user info, and then we will use this function over here, fetch user. Okay, now what we need to do, if there is access token only, it will comes to the steps, otherwise it will return back over there. So now I need to fetch the user. So I'm going to create a state, use state user. First, initially the user information is going to be empty object. We are going to create it as an empty object, and then here I'm going to fetch that information. So const user info is equals fetch user. So that will returns the user information from the local storage for us. Then actually this user, if you have a look at it in the browser, okay, use state is not defined. Absolutely, we not yet defined this use state, so that will import the use state from there. Okay, so if you have a look at it, this is it's having, so let me bring it down. See, it's an array. Inside the array only we're having that object, so we need to destructure that array. So I'm going to destructure that array. That's why I'm writing like this. Okay, so if let me show you, console.log user info. If I am console it, see, we are getting an array. Inside that array, the 0th index, it's our object. This is what we needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destructure it. Now that will return that object alone. See, that's it. So that's why I'm writing like this. Okay, So now we have that user info. So what I need to do, I need to set this user info to our state, set user info. Now inside here we can access that information. So what I'm going to do, open it, user. Only if the user information is there, you need to photo, we need to fetch that information. Where it is, application, display name, photo URL. Okay, so if the user has the photo URL, that will brings the photo URL over here. Cool. If the user doesn't have the photo URL, in that case you need to give a static picture and all those things. For the time being, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to much deeper. So now I hope you get the idea what I'm talking about. So I'll make this rounded MD and shadow. Let's add some shadow for this. Then let's save the changes. So that's looking now much better. Then we'll bring the information, the username and all those things. So for that, let me copy, and I already have that. For saving the time, I'm just copying it and pasting it. Okay, so go ahead and write. It's nothing but just a paragraph tag. Inside that I'm exporting the user informations and everything. So that will brings the username over here. Cool. But actually it's not working fine. Why? It's because I didn't add the flex for this thing. So it should be a flex. Now it will work fine. Look at that. So we successfully created a card over here, and this is for logout. So once the user clicks this, he need to log out from the screen, right? So he need to redirect to the login screen. So what I'm going to do for that particular thing, I'm going to add an on click event. On click, I'm going to say sign out. So I'm going to create this function sign out right after the use effect. So const sign out is equals. So for sign out is very simple, because we just need to clear the local storage and we need to reroute the user. So local storage dot clear. If we clear everything, the access token, nothing will not be there. So this will automatically reroute the user to the login. Okay, so then what I need to do, clear it. Then once you clear it, reroute the user to router.push/login. Okay, so now if I click this, that will be cleared and it will be rerouted to the login screen. Even if now if I go and if I edit the URL, it will not allow me to access it. If I click this, it will open the sign up, that sign in button. Click it, that will takes you to the index.js. I hope you guys understand what we have. Actually, along with this video, we faced a lots of problem and we solved everything together. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in upcoming videos. Bye bye, take care.